Heading over to the National League, Stevs, you got your Nats series. What happened there?
All right, game one. CJ Abrams, absolute defensive masterclass. Going to be a Gold Glove winner with 3 errors in the first game. Braves take that one 7-2. Corbin honestly did not look like the worst pitcher in baseball. He didn't look good by any stretch of the imagination, but he didn't look like the worst pitcher in baseball. Not worth the contract still, but I mean, what he gave up 4 runs, 2 of them earned because of the Abrams errors. So it's not. It wasn't the worst start for him. He went through what? How many innings did he go? 3, I want to say. That
Three,
sounds
three and a
right.
third.
3 1/3. And then speaking of starting pitching in that day, Max Fried goes 3 1/3. Corbin did go 3. I was right. Max Fried goes 3 1/3 and gets pulled after what was it was a
It was
leg
a
injury,
hamstring.
hamstring.
Yeah.
So he'll
Yeah.
probably go on the IL for a little bit. So that's not good. Game two was all Braves all the way through. 7-1 victory. Keibert Ruiz gets a bomb at the end of it, but Josiah Gray, known for giving up the most home runs in last season, gives up 2 bombs back to back to Ronald Acuna and Matt Olson to start off the game. Not a good start. He threw a lot of curveballs, and didn't really use his cutter at all, which was his pitch that he worked on a lot and was very, very effective in spring training. So I don't know why. But I don't know. Maybe it's a mental thing. We'll find that out. Game three though, Nats got the win, 4-1. Kind of what? Who was their pitcher? I forgot their pitcher's name. For that game, it was
So you're supposed to be a Nats fan, man.
I know Mackenzie Gore was ours. I was thinking about the Braves.
Oh, Jared Schuster.
Jared
Yeah.
Schuster. He kind of came out, looked a little flustered, couldn't find his spots. But then he kind of settled down after that, gave up 4 in the first and settled down. And kind of kept the Braves in it for a while. Mackenzie Gore looked good. Brad's didn't think his fastball shape looked very good. But I don't know what you saw throughout the rest of that game. But his off speed looked good, got a lot of strikeouts, went through 6 innings and got the Nats their first win of the season.
I mean, I'm gonna say the bad thing first before the good thing. First, CJ Abrams, God. Second, you've hit rock bottom when you're saying you're proud of Patrick Corbin lasting 3 innings in a game. But
I'm not saying I'm proud of it. I'm saying he didn't look like the worst pitcher in baseball through 3 innings.
No, that was Josiah Gray.
Yes.
Josiah Gray took that role. But game three, that was actually shocking. I really thought that the Braves would outscore the Nats the entire series by like 5 or 6 runs a game. But the Mackenzie Gore, despite Brad not liking the fastball shape, did limit solid contact the entire game against one of the best lineups in baseball, which is weird to me. Maybe it's because they're not familiar with him because he's young, but maybe it is also because he's got that dog in him. He's got something going with him. But if there's anyone that's shown, some hope in this rotation, it's definitely Mackenzie Gore. So that is something to look forward to.
I mean, through spring, Josiah looked really good, and he leaned a lot on his cutter, which he didn't really throw in game one, which I'm still confused as to why.
He threw his grade 40 slider or a 42 stuff plus, so 58% below league average. That was his most used pitch.
Yeah, that'll get him. That'll get him.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Maybe he just didn't like his stuff. I think his next starts in cores, so that's not going to be helpful to him at all. But hey, let's head to the Brewers versus Cubs series, which was a very, very good series. I'm gonna let Brad talk about it because his boy comes in game 3.
We obviously know who starts game 3. The master class himself, Eric Lauer. He pitched solid. It's a good start to his Cy Young campaign. We could take a little bit more of a step in the right direction, but you know what? I'm happy with where we're starting this season. Eric Lauer, for guys that don't know, I took him in my Cy Young draft. He went 5 1/3, 2 earned, and the Brewers ended up winning that game because Eric Lauer started. They won 9-5. The Brewers offense looked pretty solid outside of game 1, where they got shut down by Marcus Stroman, and Corbin Burns got hit pretty hard. Cubs take game 1 4-0. Game 2 went to the Brew Crew. And game 3 also goes to the Brewers. I like the Brewers offense right now. I think it is pretty solid. We saw what they did yesterday to the New York Mets. Justin Steele, however, looks very good for Chicago. But when they pull him, the Chicago bullpen just is not that crew. No pun intended, because they're facing the Brew Crew.
Yeah.
You know what? Cubs look solid. Dansby Swanson had a great homecoming. Cody Bellinger still is horrible. I don't miss him. That's that series.
I mean, the only thing I can say is that, I kind of have to admit, I was a Dansby Swanson denier. I really was like, stats this year. I mean, he came out the gate hitting like 8 hits in the first series. He's up there in average now. Maybe he is the real deal. I don't know. He would be nice on the Giants right now, but what are you gonna
He
do
was
about it?
never going to the Giants.
He
That was
was
never going to be an option.
he was in the conversations. That's
He was never going to go to the Giants.
that's bad. Okay, go ahead. Next.
We got
Okay.
the Pirates Reds. And this was a fun series. I never thought I'd say that about Pirates Reds in 2023. And it wasn't fun because the Pittsburgh Pirates are involved. It was fun because of the Cincinnati Reds pitching. First game, both pitches did not look great. Mitch Keller struggles through 6 innings. Hunter Green gets pulled in the 4th inning. He's struggling with control a lot. Wasn't really getting calls to go his way. Pirates take game 1 5-4. Game 2, however, we get to Nick Lodolo on the mound, and he generates 22 swings and misses in his first start of the season. He looks fantastic. Nick Lodolo looked very, very good. And I really like Nick Lodolo. Tom, you said he had a hot take?
I was looking at this Reds rotation and looking at what's happening. I think for the first time in a couple of years, maybe in a long time actually, the Reds have 2 starting pitchers eclipse 200 strikeouts in a season. I think it's possible that Lodolo and Green can eclipse that 200 mark if they maintain a healthy season. They generate the most swing and misses from. I mean, in the entire league, they have an extremely high Ks per nine. It's just their ability to go deep into games. Hunter Green got the control issue, and Lodolo have not seen that much of him yet, other than his insane start. The
Well,
other day.
there's one other guy.
Graham.
Yes, Graham Cracker.
Is he the one who has the similar cutter to Corbin Burns, or does he? What's his pitch that he goes to?
He's got a fantastic cutter and a fantastic slider. They're both very, very good. He grades out at a 134 on Stuff Plus. That was among the best in all of baseball already this season. Remember, that's always updating. He is the second highest pitcher behind Shohei Ohtani. He has a 127 cutters for Stuff Plus and a 152 slider for Stuff Plus. The dude's got great stuff. He throws a power cutter, and when he's able to locate it where he did against the Pirates, it's borderline unhittable. So I'm a big Graham Ashcraft believer just based on one start. But nonetheless, he actually did strike out some batters. Last year, he had nearly a 15% strikeout rate. Not 50, 15. And this season, he struck out 6 through 7. So I think there's a step in the right direction right there.
I mean, he's definitely a guy who's going to shatter some bats with the cutter. So, I mean, that's effective in itself. I really do think that the Reds got something brewing in here. Not for this year, not for next year. Probably not the year after that, but the
I'd
year
give
after
him-
that. Brad, go
I'd
ahead.
give them 3 years before they start being somewhat competitive.
Brad?
Tom, in 2019, the Cincinnati Reds had 2 pitchers that flipped 200 strikeouts.
I said a couple years. Well, that was because who did they have? It was a Castillo
Luis
and Bauer?
Castillo and Sonny Gray.
Sonny Gray hit 200. Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sonny Gray was good.
Yeah, he is good.
He
we're,
is
we're
good,
gonna
but
get
he-
we're
he
gonna get
was
to the
very
Twins
good
in a
on the
little
Reds.
bit.
You want
Yeah?
you want me to take you want me to take the Mets and the Marlins?
Yeah, you got it, man.
This is our first 4-game series that we've covered so far. Mets take 3 out of 4 though. The Marlins defense really hurt them in game 4. But outside of that, like I don't like what it was just coming up all Mets. The Mets kind of they did everything right throughout the whole time. Game 2, they wore their Flashback Friday jerseys. And Soler and Chisholm homered to give them their 2-1 lead, and that pretty much stuck through. Outside of that, game 4 was Kodai, or was it game 4 or 3? It was Senga. It was game 3. Game 3 was Kodai Senga. Looked a little rocky coming out the gates through the first inning, but he settled in and pitched a gem for the rest of the time he was in there.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching some of these games, but there just wasn't like these like big highlights coming out of the series. I mean, it was a good series, but there wasn't like, earth-shattering home runs, big plays. I don't think it's surprising. I think 1 out of 3 for the Marlins makes sense. The biggest highlight for me was the jerseys. I mean, Brad, go ahead.
It's 1 out of 4.
1 out of 4, you know what I meant. I think the highlight for me was just the jerseys. They really got to make those more consistent.
It's every Friday, dude. It is consistent.
Well, they're only waiting on Fridays then.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Uh,
Um,
I will say one point real quick. Luis
Okay.
Arise, look, he's just a pain in the side. Like he's a pain in the side of opposing teams. He's just gonna get like cheap base hits. He's just gonna do it constantly. I like Luis Arise. I never really watched him on the Twins because the Twins were unwatchable last year. But when I watched the Marlins so far, he's always having a competitive at bat, no matter who the pitcher is.
yeah. I mean, I don't think you can really argue against that. I mean, he kind of, I think he should, it was he was the one that hit the ghost fork against Senga, I want to say. And he stayed on it and he hit it, he drove it. So, I mean, he's gonna go up there. He's probably gonna win the batting title again. We're gonna see how that kind of shakes out, but let's head over to the Rockies and Padres series. And the Rockies take the first two games in a stunner in San Diego. And then the Padres bounce back and win the next two to split the series so far between them and the Rockies. But the Rockies didn't look terrible. I mean, they did look bad, but they didn't look terrible in game 1 and 2. And I mean, CJ Crone was very good. And if they do not trade him by the deadline this year, I don't know what they will be doing.
I
One
mean,
of
yeah.
Colorado Rockies.
Well, I
It's
mean,
a-
yeah, obviously, but
I mean, it was a very offensive, based first two games, and I was kind of surprised that this less than mediocre pitching staff for the Rockies managed to give up 3 runs in 2 games, um, against one of the probably the most stacked lineups I've ever seen in my life. But is it something that worries me about this Padres team? I don't think so. I really don't think that losing 2 games to the Rockies to open your season is not gonna, really impact everything, especially with Tatis still coming back. I think it's gonna be all right. And they're still missing Musgrove. Yu Darvish hasn't pitched yet. They were still relying on, some of the back half. Brad,
Yu Darvish is their opening day starter.
who? No.
yeah,
Oh wait, yeah, no, I'm tripping. Wait, yeah, never mind.
as he is pitching currently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah,
I
no, I
mean,
mean, yeah, but go ahead.
I was gonna go to the next series. I don't think we really need to talk anymore about them. Um, Diamondbacks versus Dodgers, Brad.
the Dodgers go out and split a series that people are like crapping on the Dodgers for splitting the series. But
Tom.
if you look at the games where the Dodgers lost, right, they were pitchers duels. And the ones with the Dodgers limited the Diamondbacks to 7 runs over 4 games. That's pretty solid in all honesty. And game 1 goes to the Dodgers. Julio Urias gets hit for 2 runs in the first inning. We're really concerned. It looks like it's the Mexico game. And he recovers. He goes 6 solid innings. And the Dodgers offense shows up. James Outman, MVP, right there himself. Freddie Freeman looks really good at the plate. Will Smith is using the opposite field for the first time in his career. That's really dangerous right there. A quality bat who discovers the opposite field for base hits. That's what you want in your starting catcher. Game 2, Dustin May goes 7 innings, no earned, and they bring in Alex Vesia when Dustin May is throwing like 85 pitches. And Alex Vesia lets up a 2-run bomb in the 8th inning. Dodgers lose game 2, 2-1. Game 3, Dodgers, it's just an offensive juggernaut. And by that, I mean a Trace Thompson juggernaut. He hits 3 home runs. He's 1 home run away from the home run cycle. Clayton Kershaw, that guy's pretty good. He lets up a solo home run to Christian Walker. And besides that, the Diamondbacks baffled. He generated 10 swings and misses on his curveball, which, it's a Cooperstown curveball. It doesn't matter who he throws it against unless it's, like Aaron Judge. But they'll miss. And it's very
Or in the
successful.
playoffs, but
No, that's one with a slider.
Yeah.
And then game 4, Noah Syndergaard comes to the mound. We're all shaking in our boots because Noah Syndergaard looked horrible this spring, and he dominates. He's not getting too many swings and misses. The velo's sitting 92, 93. But what's he doing? He's getting people off balance, getting changeups below the zone, driving sliders on the back foot of lefties, and he's throwing 75% strikes. He had 1 2-0 count his entire start. If he's not going to throw velo, that's what you got to do. And if that's the mold that he stays with, I like it.
I think the most I think the biggest takeaway for me from the series, and I like a lot of things in this series I expected. I didn't expect them to split, but I expected the pitchers to show up. I expected the bats to show up. The thing I didn't expect was Miguel Vargas to walk like 50 times in that series. I mean, he's literally with that hairline fracture has become Juan Soto with the vision at the plate. He just gets on base now. I think he's got like a 780 on base percentage right now. Coming away with like something about 6 or 7 walks in that series, probably more actually.
He had a 61.5% walk rate this weekend.
I mean, it's just weird to see. But he did rack up his was it his first hit in the majors this series, or did he call it up before?
He was up last year. He didn't get consistent playing time.
Yeah, so I mean, first hit as a starter, really. And I mean, it seems like the young guys are coming up, and I really do feel like James Outman might, end up in that rookie of the year, conversation by the end of the season.
I 100% agree with that, especially when you look at James Outman's defense, and he's already in the 97th percentile. Oh, 99th now, sorry, for outs above average.
That's
He's
pretty
ju-
bad.
Yeah, that's bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
He is a very good defender. We appeared earlier this or late last week on Variety Sports Network's baseball 7th inning stretch. And I was told to pitch James Outman, and I was said, if he doesn't hit, he's Cody Bellinger. If he does hit, he's better than Cody Bellinger. So what's not to like there?
I mean, you're right.
Fair.
It's just about slotting people in. With guys like Trace Thompson and also Chris Taylor. I mean, obviously you cannot move Mookie Betts, so there are going to be days where Trace does not start. Well, is he going to be a guy that plays 150 games this season?
Outman or Trace?
Outman.
I hope so.
Okay, because at this point it looks like he's a platoon bat with Trace, and it's weird. I'm not sure if they're switching in and out because who's
I
their
think he
who's their
just
their
switched out
full-time
for
left
one
fielder?
game.
Outman's played 4 or 5 games already.
Okay, that's good because I was worried that they would make the same mistake that they did before and just send
I
it
think it
back
was just
down.
like a scheduled off day, kind of like
Yeah.
Abrams. Abrams had off. Well, not yesterday, the
Here's
day
the
before.
thing. One of them's contributing to this team.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, but like it's just it's a scheduled day off. That's what I'm trying to say, Brad.